No matter who you are, where you come from, or what makes you different. Remember this. You were not made by mistake. You were made to shine. Because sometimes, the ones the world abandons are the very ones sent to remind it what love really means. Years later, when their foundation had changed thousands of lives, a plaque was placed at its entrance. It read, "Once abandoned in darkness, they became the bearers of light. Because kindness, once found, never dies, it multiplies." And somewhere, in a quiet corner of that building, that old wooden music box still played its gentle tune, reminding everyone who heard it that even the smallest act of compassion can change the course of a life. On their 34th birthday, a journalist asked them, "After everything you've been through, what kept you going?" Eli smiled. "Love. Even when the world gave us hate, we chose love. That's what saved us." Ella added, "We used to think we were broken. But we weren't. We were chosen, to remind people what love can do." That night, they sat by the piano again. The music box still played, though its notes trembled with age. Eli whispered, "Do you think there are still kids like us, waiting to be seen?" Ella nodded. "Yes. But maybe our story helps them believe they're not forgotten." They smiled. The melody played on. Not as a lullaby of sorrow, but as a song of light. In the years that followed, Eli and Ella dedicated their lives to others like them. They founded the Light Within Foundation, supporting children with albinism around the world. They traveled from village to village, spreading love, building schools, painting murals, and singing songs of hope. Eli's song, "The Color of Light," became an anthem for acceptance. We are born of the same sun, shining in a million ways. Don't hide your glow, don't fear your shade. You are light, just light, unafraid. Their mission reached every corner of the world. And slowly, the world began to change. They traveled back to Mississippi, the place that once turned them away. The orphanage was nearly abandoned, its paint peeling, its rooms silent. Inside, one nun remained, Sister Agnes. She smiled through tears when she saw them. "I always knew you'd do great things," she said. "You were glowing, even then." And finally, they met their mother. Sarah was frail, her face lined with years of regret. When she saw them, she whispered, "You came." Ella took her hand. "You did what you thought was right. We forgive you." Sarah smiled weakly. "You're even more beautiful than I ever imagined." She passed that night, holding their hands, finally at peace. 34 years after that cold December night, Ella received a letter. The handwriting was old, trembling. It read, "Dear Ella and Eli, I am your mother. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need to tell you the truth. When you were born, we were told your condition was a curse. We believed the lies. We let fear win. But not a day has passed that I haven't thought about you. I saw you once on television. You were singing together. And I knew instantly. You had your father's smile. I'm dying now. Please know, you were never unwanted. Just misunderstood. Sarah." Music fades to quiet heartbeat rhythm. Ella's hands shook. Eli said nothing. He simply walked to the piano, wound the old music box, and let it play. After a moment, he whispered, "We forgive her. Because forgiveness is freedom." By their 20s, their talents began to shine far beyond their small town. Eli's songs, about faith, difference, and belonging, filled churches with tears. Ella's paintings were displayed in galleries, her art glowing with emotion. They didn't chase fame. Fame found them. Their story, the abandoned albino twins who turned pain into purpose, spread like wildfire across social media. Interviews, talk shows, documentaries, everyone wanted to hear their voices. But fame didn't change them. Every year on their birthday, they returned to St. Mary's Orphanage. They brought food, gifts, and hope to the children who still waited to be loved. Eli would tell them, "Don't hide your light, even if the world doesn't understand it yet." And Ella would add, "Different isn't bad. Different is beautiful." Soft emotional pause. They didn't know it yet. But their story was about to come full circle. Months later, a letter arrived at St. Mary's. A woman named Margaret Lawson, a widowed schoolteacher from Atlanta, had seen the photograph. "Their eyes," she wrote, "speak of something pure. I lost my own daughter years ago. If they'll have me, I'd love to give them a home." For the first time, Eli and Ella were chosen. Music rises, hopeful, warm. Margaret was everything they'd prayed for. She painted their room yellow, not white, not gray, but bright, warm yellow. She taught them music, art, kindness. When neighbors stared, she held their hands proudly and said, "They are not mistakes. They are miracles." And under her love, they bloomed. Ella became a gifted painter. Eli, a singer whose voice carried the kind of emotion that makes the world stop and listen. Together, they created beauty out of pain. Then one rainy afternoon, a man arrived. His name was Mr. Graham, a kind-eyed photographer who was documenting orphanages across America. He saw the twins sitting by a window, Eli humming softly while Ella sketched pictures on scrap paper. "What song is that?" he asked. Eli smiled shyly. "It's something I made up. For Ella. So she won't cry when it rains." Mr. Graham's heart melted. He sat with them for hours, talking about dreams, colors, and hope. Before leaving, he handed them a small wooden music box. "It's old," he said. "But it still plays something beautiful." He wound it once, and the melody filled the room, gentle, haunting, pure. Ella whispered, "It sounds like hope." Music box tune blends with background piano. That night, Mr. Graham took one last photo, the twins sitting together, framed by the window's light. That photograph would soon travel the world. Eli and Ella grew up inside those gray, echoing walls. To the other children, they were strange, ghostly. Some laughed. Some ran. And others whispered things children should never hear. Cursed. God's punishment. At night, Ella would cry herself to sleep. "Why are we so different, Eli?" she'd ask. And her brother, always her protector, would whisper, "Because God ran out of colors when he made us. So he painted us with light." Pause. Music softens. That one line, simple, innocent, would one day change everything. They dreamed of being chosen, of someone walking through those orphanage doors and saying, "You're coming home." But year after year, families came, and left. Never for them. By 12, they had stopped hoping. They were born on the coldest night of 1991, two tiny miracles wrapped in silence. Their skin, pale as moonlight. Their eyes, shimmering blue like frozen rain. But instead of joy, their birth brought fear. In a small Mississippi town, whispers filled the hospital halls. "Albino twins," someone said. "Poor things, their parents won't keep them." And they didn't. Just 7 days later, the babies were left on the steps of St. Mary's orphanage, wrapped in an old blanket. No note. No name. Only a scrap of paper that said, "Please, take care of our angels." Music swells slightly. They were given names by the nuns, Eli and Ella. And from that day forward, their story became one of pain, of hope, and of the light that refuses to die, even in the darkest places.